Hey, Shook. Welcome to another episode of the Melanin Mayhem podcast, hosted by your favorite country girl, Renee Davis. If this is your first time kicking it in these mean mayhem streets, what a time you about to have, honey. Melanin Mayhem brings you the stories of some of the most prolific, diabolical, and downright audacious-ass crimes committed by some melanated baddies. And while these crimes were sensational, no doubt, the coverage was minimal at best. And because they're not getting their proper shine, it's got our community leaning into the myth that there are certain types of crimes that Black people don't commit. And that's where I come in. I am the keeper of the oral history of the dark side of our greatness. I'm gonna tell you the real deal, cause we do it all, been doing it all, and let me tell you, what you don't know can indeed hurt you. Now, all right, church, now that we have properly welcomed our visitors to the fine members of the Newer Nation, my peoples, the reason for the season. Hey, sweet things. I hope your June has gotten off to a great start. Because, baby, I don't see that this year is flying by. We are already at the halfway point. Next thing you know, we're going to be breaking out the Christmas decorations. And I'm ready for it. I'm just telling you, I love Christmas. This week, y'all, I'm going to tell you, I started in one direction and ended up with another 2-for-1. I felt like we needed a little bit of a breather, or, what I like to call a palate cleanser. We still gonna mayhem, make no mistake about that. But today, I got mayhem light. Or maybe we should call it diet mayhem. You see, I had run across this story about a woman that was fucking up old people in Chicago. But the story was a little slim. It wasn't a lot of meat on the bone. Sure, she did some fuckery and fucked around and got a place in the history books. So for that alone, I thought that we needed to talk about it. And in the course of me digging into her shit, I came across another story about another chick in Chicago that actually started this history making off. And since both of these chicks made history with their shenanigans, why not tell you both of their stories? These women are the reason the state of Illinois had to rework the prison system to accommodate them properly given their status. Honey, these hoes was audacious, but in different ways, but they ended up together in the end. I ain't gonna even hold y'all this week. Let's bring these hoes to the front of the congregation for a proper discussion about their niggatry. This week's Melanin Mayhem makers are Geraldine Smith and Dorothy Williams, aka the Women of Death Row, Illinois. So we're going to kick this thing off talking about Miss Geraldine Smith. Now, I'm going to just tell you, I don't have any background on her and the story of what she did, because she only did one thing. But the shit was prolific, so we just going to talk about what had happened was. You see, Geraldine Smith had a boyfriend. His name was Louis McDonald. And I think it's Louis. It's spelled Louia. I was thinking, did the hospital make a mistake and it should have been Louis? But every document that I see, it's spelled Louia. How the hell do you pronounce that? Louis? We just gonna call him Louis McDonald. Well, Louis and Geraldine, they had been kicking it since early 1986. And baby, Geraldine loved herself some Louis. Ooh, he was the pot to her lid. He was perfect. Except for one teensy-weensy itty-bitty little issue. You see, Louis was married with 2 children. Yeah. Louis had a wife named Valerie McDonald. Valerie and Louis had been together for a little minute, too. They had 2 girls, one named LaChana, one named LaKey, and they were 16 and 8 years old. Now, Valerie at some point found out about her husband's girlfriend. I'ma say it was somewhere around the summer of 1986 that Valerie and Geraldine got into it about Valerie's husband. See, what had happened was on July 4th, 1986, goddamn Independence Day, the 4th of July, honey, but the fireworks, they weren't in the sky. They was at Valerie's house. Geraldine had brought her trifling ass over to this married woman's house and was sitting in this married woman's husband's car. Yes, honey, Geraldine was just sitting outside in Louis' car in front of Valerie's house, refusing to leave, just bringing all the smoke to this woman's door. Well, Valerie called the cops to report that her car was in the process of being stolen. Now, Valerie didn't seem to want no smoke with Geraldine while it was just the two of them there, because she didn't come outside until the cops pulled up. Oh, baby, then she was all up in Geraldine's face. Oh, she was ready to fight then. And of course, the next thing you know, they swing. Well, the cops, they break the shit up. They searched the car, the one that they saw Geraldine sitting in, Valerie's husband's car. Well, inside of that car is a 25 and a hammer. Ooh, shit, Valerie. You might not want to run up on this girl because she a little on the cuckoo crazy side. She was finna get your ass. Baby, after all this went down, of course, Louis is telling his wife how sorry he is and how he want to make it better. We gonna let Jesus fix it, baby. Fix it, Jesus. So they working on their marriage, you know, he doing the right thing. At least that's what he's telling her. As far as Valerie knows, her marriage and her life is back on track now. Well, straight out of the fuckboy manual, Louis is also telling Geraldine all the good lies that married men tell they side piece. You know them ones, you know, baby, I love you so much. I'ma leave my wife for you, honey. I don't wanna be with her. But you know what? We gotta do it when the time is right, cause baby, you the one. But you know, I gotta make sure my kids is straight. And you see, right now ain't the right time financially for me to be making no sudden moves, baby. You know, just hold on a little bit long. Or whatever the lies he was running down to Geraldine. But you know it was somewhere along them lines. Did I mention that Geraldine is pregnant? Honey. Ooh, yes, honey. That's a ghetto alley badass bitch out here fighting in the streets, carrying on while you pregnant, girl. And as her pregnancy progressed, her boyfriend Louis was starting to act like a real typical fuckboy. Now he picking arguments all the time. Every time they get together, there ain't no loving and kissing. They arguing and carrying on. And the shit ain't sweet no more. And in Geraldine's mind, it's all because of Louis' wife. Bitch. That's all I got to say. Y'all felt me, right? Well, Geraldine has her baby, a son, towards the end of the year 1986. And she named her son Louis McDonald Jr. And not long after, Junior was the only man in her life because she very rarely ever saw Senior. Ooh, honey, Senior was playing a good old game of keep away, stay away like a motherfucker. And this just infuriated Geraldine. And rather than come to terms with the fact that her baby daddy was a fuckboy, he ain't worth nothing, and she needed to move the fuck on, she focused all of her anger towards his wife, a wife who thinking, bitch, you out the picture. You ain't even here no more because, again, this man is a whole ass married man. Baby, Valerie is just minding her married business and staying the fuck out the way. Well, apparently, Geraldine wanted to fast forward and get to the part where she and Louis was together and the wife was no more, and she decided to take matters into her own hands. Y'all see this plot beginning to form? Well, let me tell you, Geraldine got a good girlfriend named Marva. You see, Marva used to date Geraldine's uncle back in the day. Her and the uncle stopped fucking around, but she was thick as thieves with Geraldine by that time. So Marva worked at a restaurant close to Geraldine's house. So a lot of the time, she just crashed at Geraldine's house to be closer to work, you know, cut that commute time down. And because they such good friends, it ain't nothing for her to just be over there, even if Geraldine ain't nowhere around. They share everything. Her apartment, they share Geraldine's car. So, you know, they really good friends. Well, on June 21st, 1987, Marva gets off work and she go to Geraldine's house like normal. Well, Geraldine and that bitch on 10 talking about how this bitch got to die. Fuck this hoe, I can't stand this bitch. This bitch got to get up out of here right motherfucking now. So Marva like, what bitch, girl? And Geraldine like, that bitch Valerie, I want that bitch dead. And she just kept on and on and on. Like, Geraldine was not trying to be calmed down or talked to in no way, shape, form, or fashion. Like, as the day went on, she just kept getting madder and madder and madder. So around 6 o'clock that night, they jump in the car. She drops Junior off at her sister's house. And then she tell Marva, girl, come on, ride with me. They drive to the north side of Chicago. Mind you, Geraldine stay on the west side of Chicago. They turn on North Winthrop Avenue and slow down like they fixing to do a drive-by. And Marva like, girl, you know they don't fuck around like this on the north side. What the fuck is you on? But Geraldine ain't studying shit Marva got to say because she is in her own world. Like, she is one-track mind. So they driving real slow, and then she just stopped. And she was like, that's where that bitch stay right there. The bitch I want dead is in this motherfucking house. Okay, Geraldine. Do y'all know that Geraldine circled the block like 6 times? Just cussing and talking care shit about this woman who ain't did shit to her except be married to the man that she lusting behind. But Louis' car ain't there while they doing all this circling. So Geraldine is slightly all right with the situation because her man is not in the house with his wife. Girl. They eventually leave after circling the block. They go back to Geraldine's apartment over on the west side. About an hour later, Geraldine like, hey, let's get back in the car. We finna go ride out on this bitch one more time. Geraldine, girl, I know it's the 80s and gas was cheap, but you is really wasting gas. They drive back to the north side of Chicago, and this time, she see Louis' car parked outside. Ooh, baby. This bitch lost it in the car. Like, I'm talking about cuckoo crazy land, something serious. Oh, this bitch beating on the steering wheel and screaming and hollering and cussing and crying. And this bitch got to go. I can't stand this bitch. Fuck this hoe. Girl, why are you mad at Valerie? She ain't did a goddamn thing to you. Who you need to be mad with is the man you laid up with that you know had a Valerie. But okay, bitch, if you say so. So while she having her cuckoo crazy moment in the car on her, oh, this bitch got to go type of shit, Marva just kind of sitting there taking in the moment, you know what I'm saying? She don't really know what to do because, you know, when people get real mad, you really don't want to say nothing the wrong way or make a sudden move because you might end up getting fucked up, you know what I'm saying? Because cuckoo crazy will take cuckoo crazy out on anybody, right? So they drive back to Geraldine's house, and all she keeps saying is she tired of this shit. She tired of this shit. I'm tired of this shit. Girl, you need to be tired of his shit, not this shit. His shit. So as they riding back to Geraldine's house, Geraldine asks Marva if she know anybody that can put in that work. Ooh, shit, okay. Well, Marva like, yeah, you know, I got a homeboy that'll do what need to be done. And, you know, Marva is thinking that Geraldine is hormonal. I mean, she just had a baby, like, 6 months ago? So she don't think that she is really meaning anything that she's saying. This is just all emotion. This is all cap, right? She gonna go to bed, sleep it off, and she gonna wake up in the morning, she gonna be fine. So they get back to Geraldine's house, they kick it for the rest of the night, and they go to bed. The next morning, June 22nd, 1987, Geraldine wake up, and the first thing out her mouth, I want that bitch dead. God damn, one track mind? Can you have some breakfast and a cup of coffee before you start drinking the haterade? Like, god damn. She then again asks Marva, you serious? You know somebody who can make some shit happen? And Marva was like, you know, I know a dude, you know, I know people. So she tell Marva, we need to go holler at your homeboy. I got $500 on the job. $500? Girl. Kind of hitman is you finna hire? So the day passes, and you know, Marva again thinking that she just blowing smoke. She don't mean nothing. But later on that evening, Geraldine grab up her baby, and Marva jump in the car with her, and they go to see a man about a horse. First off, how you taking your baby on a mission to find a hitman? Girl, there are just some things that you need to get a babysitter for. You don't take no baby to go do no dirt, ma'am. Ooh. So they head over to a bar over on 59th Street and Honor Streets, somewhere around in that area, because Marvin know a dude named Eddie Williams. Eddie used to go with her sister, and he was kind of thuggish, you know what I'm saying? So he looked like the type that'll do what need to be done. So they get to the bar, and Geraldine wait in the car while Marvin run up on Eddie. So, you know, she run up on Eddie. They shoot the shit for a minute. You know, what's up, Eddie? How you been? And then she hit him with her, so check this out. My homegirl got $500 for you if you can pull the trigger on her op. And in true negaciousness, this motherfucker say, let's ride. Nigga shit. Just nigga shit. But wait. Marva feel like she need an agent's fee or something. So she started negotiating with Eddie to give her some money out this money that Geraldine gonna give him. So they settled on him giving Marva $100 finding fee out of them $500. So he gonna get $400 for killing a bitch. What? The niggatry at its finest here, boy. Ooh, but wait, it gets better. So they get in the car and they pull off because they finna go do this shit right now. Ready to pull the cape. Got the shooter, right? Now, all they need is a gun. Wait. Your shooter ain't got no gun? Maybe you need to rethink. I ain't never used the services of a hitman, but if I were to partake, I would definitely expect them to have all the tools of the trade that they gonna need to do whatever the fuck they gonna do. Cause what the fuck? That's like going to a surgeon and he ain't got no scalpel. He telling you, you know, when you get here, bring a scalpel with you. This is not good, y'all. So Marva, she knows somebody that they can get a gun from. Marva, this your Timu ass hitman with nothing to hit a man with. I don't think I want no more of your hookups. That's what this bitch should have been saying, but nope. But you know what? Geraldine is not thinking clearly. So they go and they pull up on Marva's cousin, her cousin Olivia. Marva asks Olivia, hey, you know where I can get a blicky at right quick? And Olivia like, well, shit, I got one, but it ain't for sale, you know. Well, Marva like, you know my homegirl, you know Geraldine. Yeah, Geraldine, she need a little something. Maybe y'all can work something out. So Olivia like, well, let me holler at her. She like, well, she in the car. So Olivia sends one of her children to go outside and tell Geraldine to come in the house because she is still outside in the car with Eddie no gun but ready to shoot somebody's ass. That nigga. So Geraldine come upstairs with her baby. Her and Olivia go in the room and chop it up, and the next thing you know, Geraldine come out the room with a pillowcase in her hand. But ain't no pillow in the goddamn pillowcase. What's in that pillowcase? That piece be still. Okay, so now we got a gun. So they go back to the car where Eddie No Smoke is waiting. Geraldine gives him the gun that she just got from Olivia. And then Marva drives Geraldine and the baby home. Geraldine gives them their marching orders. I want that bitch dead. And Marva and Eddie was like, shit, say less. Is this really how it goes down? After Marva and Eddie the hitman who just got a gun, they drop Geraldine off. They drive to the north side where Louis and his family live. But when they get there, Marva don't see his car. So they abort the mission. Them niggas take the gun back to Olivia and tell her, hey, we'll be back to get it tomorrow. What in the entire fuck? So what, is Olivia running a rental center out this bitch or what? Like, what? This is a rental gun? You get it for a couple of hours and you bring it back? Like, I'm so confused. This is confusion. So the following day, June 23rd, 1987, as you can see, this is a 3-day period. Marva jumps in the car and go pick up Eddie, the hitman with no gun. It's around 5:30 that evening. So they go back to Olivia's house, rent the gun again, and then they drive back to the north side to go commit the murder that they've been talking about for the last 2 days. So Marva, she parks Geraldine's car and they get out because Marva got to show Eddie where Louis and his wife live. She points out where they live, and then they just kind of stand on the corner because Louis's car is not there. So they just waiting for this nigga to show up. They don't know where Louis at, how long he gonna be gone. They just gonna sit here because they can't go home this time without completing his job. So they just standing around. A little while later, Marva see Louis's car coming up, and she points it out to Eddie. There they go. That's who you want right there. And then Marva hauls ass back to Geraldine's car, crank it up, drive off. She pull into a grocery store like around the corner, and she just sit there waiting with the engine running. Okay. So mind you, it's June 23rd. This is a Tuesday. That particular day, Valerie and her girls had went to church that evening. Now, on a Tuesday night, that was either choir rehearsal or Bible study. This a good Christian woman here. Geraldine, you gonna bust hell wide open for what the fuck you about to do. And Louis, good heathen ass, he picked them up from church and then drives them home to their house on North Winthrop Avenue. It's around 9:15-ish when all of this is going down. And you know, parking, from my understanding, is a bitch in Chicago. And Louis was having a time trying to find a parking space. So he's circling the block. Their daughter in the car, China, she notices that there's a man with a ponytail standing on the corner, and he looks like he watching their car circle the block. But you know, it's probably nothing. I mean, the nigga is standing outside. It really don't mean nothing. So Louis finally looks up and gets a spot right across the street from their building. Everybody get out the car, you know how we do, and they start heading towards the building. Well, Louis and the girls, they go in the building first. Valerie is still outside on the street, bringing up the rear. And I just want to pause here for a minute. Louis, you're supposed to hold the door for the women in your life. Valerie should not be the last person coming in the door. I don't know if that's a Southern thing. Let me tell you something. I don't touch doors, honey. That's what my old man is for. Honey, he is going to be the last one in. He is going to shut that door. If anything finna go down, he gonna catch that smoke. Well, not in this particular case because fuckboy ass Louis, he already in the goddamn building. Well, Valerie is standing outside. The dude with the ponytail that her daughter had seen, he runs up on Valerie and puts a gun to her head and pulls the trigger. Valerie take 2 shots to the dome, and then the man take off running. So the girls, they running out the building, running to their mama. But Louis, in a surprise, instead of him stopping to check on Valerie, he take off after Ponytail Man. Well, Ponytail Man got his Nikes on, and he leaves Louis in the dust. He runs to the parking lot of a grocery store, jumps in a burgundy Buick Regal that looks like it was waiting on him, and that bitch just peel out. Skirt! Okay, Louis has messed up. He couldn't catch the dude, so he go back to his wife, who is bleeding from her ear on the sidewalk. It's chaos and confusion. The children are distraught. Of course, their mother is laying on the ground bleeding out. And Louis is distraught too. Not only because his wife just got, but the car that Ponytail just jumped into, it damn sure looked like Geraldine's car. I know goddamn well Geraldine ain't did what I think she did. Now back at the car, Eddie jump in that bitch and tell Marva, let's get the fuck out of here, let's go. And Marva took off on 2 wheels out that bitch, right? They drive straight to Geraldine's house to let her know mission accomplished. Eddie reports that he shot that bitch in the head and that he thinks she's going to die. Mr. Hitman, you ain't supposed to be thinking shit. Your service is supposed to be guaranteed 100% satisfaction. Fuck you mean think? But you know, a deal is a deal, and Geraldine, she now jumps in the car, go to the ATM, go get $500, brings it back, gives it to Eddie. Eddie, remembering his deal with Marva, he peel off $100, give it to her. Marva drops Eddie back off at the bar, and then she go return the rental gun to her cousin Olivia. She a little wired or whatever. I mean, you really did just pull a big ass caper, so she needs to calm herself down a little bit. So she goes to the bar and have a drink or 5 with her sister. So she just hanging at the bar drinking. After she gets through drinking, she still ain't ready to go back to Geraldine's house. So she just drive around for a little while. And by the time she actually makes it back to Geraldine's house, it's late, like well after 3 in the morning, and nobody was home at Geraldine's house. So, you know, again, that's her homegirl. She just come in the house and get into bed, go to sleep. When she wake up the next morning, here is Geraldine with 2 police detectives talking about they want to talk to her. So let's go back to the crime scene for a minute. Valerie is on the ground. Somebody has called 911. The cops get there, the ambulance comes. They take Valerie, who is still yet holding on, to the hospital. The cops question the girls and Louis. Mr. McDonald, do you know of anyone that would want to hurt your wife? And Louis punk ass say, yeah, actually I do. I think my girlfriend did this. The car that the nigga jumped in, it looked just like my old lady shit. I think y'all need to go check that out, cause this bitch might have just tried to cut my wife water off. So the cops standing there like, excuse me, sir. Did I hear you right? You say your girlfriend might have had something to do with your wife getting shot? Yeah, that's what I said. Niggas. So the cops, they stand around for a minute talking about how this nigga ain't shit. And then they go chase down his lead. They show up at Geraldine's house at about 2 o'clock in the morning. Now, mind you, this is only like 5 hours after the shooting, but it's the next day because it's after midnight. So this is officially June 24th, 1987. They knock on the door. Geraldine answers, and they say, hey, Miss Geraldine, we need you to come down to the Area 6 police headquarters with us to have a little chat about your boyfriend wife. And so Geraldine was like, sure, no problem, let's go. And so when they get to the precinct, they ask Geraldine, where's your car? And Geraldine tells them, well, you know, I let my homegirl use my car. So, okay, they're like, well, who is this homegirl? And she says, oh, her name is Marva Golden. They ask a couple of more questions about her relationship with Louis. Did she know he was married? Did she pop a cap in her boyfriend's wife? You know, the standard questions. And Geraldine says she don't know shit. I don't know what y'all talking about. This is horrible. My heart goes out to them. Thoughts and prayers. After they finish interviewing her, the detective drives her home. When they pull up at Geraldine's house, lo and behold, there go Geraldine's car. Marva done made it back. So the detective is like, you know what? On second thought, I got a couple of more questions for you and your girl. So they go in Geraldine's house and they go wake up Marva. Marva gets up and is looking crazy because, again, imagine you just pulled a caper. You know you in some shit. And not 10 hours later, the police is at the goddamn foot of the bed talking about they want to holler at you for a minute. Oh, I know Marva was shit in bricks. So she throw on some clothes right quick and they go get in the car. Marva and Geraldine are in the back of the detective car. Y'all tell me why Geraldine lean over and whisper this to Marva. Hey, man, don't say shit. Girl, they don't know nothing. Because if they did, it'd be a different situation. We'll be under arrest. They just want to talk to us. Just keep it 100, man. Don't say shit, all right? We straight. Girl, ma'am. Let's look at the situation. Y'all in a squad car. This is your second time in a couple of hours heading back to the police station. I think they know something. I think you got a wrong read on this, Geraldine. So they get back to the police station. They split Geraldine and Marva up. They ask Geraldine, well, now that your car and shit back, can we get your permission to go search your car and your house? And Geraldine is like, I don't have anything to hide. So sure, y'all have at it. So they leave with Geraldine to go back to her house to search to see if there's any evidence of a shooting that just took place. But mind you, they leave homegirl Marva at the police station while they at Geraldine's house doing a little searching. Now think about it. Homegirl Marva, the one that facilitated this whole fucking thing, when she found out that she was still at the police station and Geraldine was gone, oh baby, honey, the switch up was so motherfucking quick. That bitch folded like a card table. When I say this bitch told it all, I mean she told it all. Oh, the dry snitching of it all. I don't even think this was dry snitching. This was straight up snitch city. She asked, well, where's Geraldine at? And the detectives was like, well, oh, you didn't know? Geraldine at home. And Marva was like, oh, really? That's a surprise considering she's the cause of all of this. And the detective was like, oh, really? What you mean by that, baby? That's when the verbal diarrhea started. She told the detectives that Geraldine came up with the idea to kill Valerie, that Eddie Williams was the man that shot Valerie. Who? Who is Eddie? Describe him. Does he have a ponytail? Yes, Eddie got a ponytail. Well, do you know where we can find Eddie? Of course I know where you can find Eddie. He be at the bar all the time. That's why I pulled up on him at. Okay, well, let's go and snatch Eddie's ass up. And they take Marva with them so that she could point out, where Eddie be at and which dude is Eddie. They snatch Eddie up. They all get back to the station. So Marva is still telling all the business. And so she gets to the point about the rental gun, you remember, that she got from Olivia, and they're like, oh, does Olivia still have that gun? And she's like, I think so. And then this bitch calls Olivia from the police phone in the police station. And she tells her cousin Olivia, hey cuz, the police finna come by your spot to get that little runner gun. Just give it to them when they get there. Bitch, what? I can only imagine what Olivia's face was like. Like, oh, I didn't sign up for this. I know this bitch ain't told them. Yes, your cousin. This bitch not only told it all, she ride with the police to Olivia's house to get the gun. But when Olivia hung that phone up, that gun disappeared. So when the police pull up, she like, I don't know what my cousin talking about. I don't have no gun. I know that's right, Olivia, baby. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't even like guns. So police left Olivia's house that day without the gun. But please believe they doubled back on Olivia's ass the very next day on the 25th. And they basically was like, if that gun don't appear, Olivia was going to disappear into the prison system for evidence tampering and hindering an investigation. They started dropping words like that. And Olivia was like, oh, shit, you talking about that gun? I thought you were talking about another gun. Oh, I know where that gun at. So she shows Detective David Ryan where the gun was hidden, which was in an abandoned garage inside that goddamn pillowcase. Y'all, Valerie McDonald was in a coma for 6 days after the shooting before she died on June 29th, 1987. So all of this time now, this week, Geraldine is still free while all of this is going on, but Marva is locked up at the Cook County Jail waiting to see what kind of deal they're gonna give her for her testimony. Now she got Geraldine thinking that she 100. She ain't saying nothing. I'm holding it down for you, girl. But in the meantime, in between time, she is singing like a bird. Y'all, but then in a case of what in the entire fuck, do y'all know that this crazy bitch Geraldine go see her friend Marva that's locked up because she helped with a killation for your ass, and your ass ain't even locked up, but you gonna come see me at the jail? Okay. This bitch Geraldine go visit Marva and has the absolute nerve and audacity, call it nagacity, to ask Marva to write Louis a letter from jail and tell Louis that Geraldine ain't had shit to do with the murder of his wife. Then this hoe took it even further. She tell Marva, that bitch say, if you write that letter to Louis, I'll make sure I drop some good bread on your books. Bitch. First and foremost, you should have already done that shit. I'm in jail behind your ass and you ain't already made sure my commissary looking frosty? Girl, bah. Now, Marva was a dumb bitch. Make no mistake about it, because none of this shit would have happened if she hadn't been the plug. But at the same time, Geraldine got life all fucked up. You want me to disincriminate your ass in writing to the man that's gonna eventually testify about getting a letter from me from jail when all this shit go to court? Bitch, I'm not finna create reasonable doubt for you if you don't get the fuck out of here. The nerve, the negacity of it all, the niggotry of it all. Well, they were just working out the details, making sure that the case against Geraldine was tight. She was eventually arrested shortly thereafter this little visit, and now her and Marva are at the Cook County Jail. Marva telling anybody who will listen, if I'm going down, I'm taking everybody with me. So, see, that's why you got to know who you doing dirt with. You need to know that the person you doing dirt with gonna be 110 toes down like 4 flats on a Cadillac, baby, because some of these folks will switch up on you quick. Now, I ain't saying that Marva was wrong, because, again, if I do a killation for you or facilitate a killation for you and you bring the police to me, all bets are off, bitches. Every man for itself and God for us all. I'm just saying. That's why I do my dirt by myself, because please believe, I ain't gonna snitch on Nay. Nay ain't gonna tell, baby. She ain't gonna fold. No, ma'am. So the deal Marva worked out with the state in exchange for testifying against Geraldine is that she would get a 20-year sentence, and with good behavior, she would be out basically in 7 years. But if she didn't cooperate, she would be up for the death sentence. Baby, Marva said, I'll take 20 years for 200, Alex. Geraldine went to trial in November of 1989, and because of the holidays and shit, the shit dragged into 1990. The prosecution had Marva's testimony. You know, Marva done told everything, chapter and verse. They had Olivia and Olivia's kids. They had the gun. They had ballistics on the gun from that bullet that they pulled from Valerie's head. All that shit matched up to Olivia's rental gun. And then they had Eddie's fingerprints on Geraldine's car. They had the cop testify about the fight that he had broke up between Valerie and Geraldine, you know, about a year earlier. But you know what? It was some bullshit in the game, because even though that's a really nice lineup of witnesses against Geraldine, guess who the fuck didn't testify? That pussy punk ass Louis McDonald. Yes, honey, he was on the goddamn witness list for the prosecution, but on February 28th, 1990, when he was supposed to take the stand, his punk ass was a no-call, no-show for court. What? Nigga, this is your wife's killer on trial, and you ain't gonna be there? Well, a detective went by his house, and Louis was home, and the detective was like, hey man, we need your ass front and center to testify at your wife's killer's trial tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? If you need a ride, we'll come pick you up like Enterprise. And Louis was like, nah man, my bad, I overslept today. We gonna be there tomorrow. Because it is a we. It's not just Louis that was on the line to testify. His daughter Lakia was supposed to testify too. Well, the following day, the very next day, when he is rescheduled to testify, February 29th, that motherfucker come, and Louis is again a no-call, no-show. So the detectives, they run quickly back to Louis' house, but Louis ain't there. They go to his job. Louis ain't at work neither. So they go over to the school. The children ain't in school. Ooh-wee, that's a trifling motherfucker there. Ooh, sir. You do know that if it was not for you, your wife would still be in the land of the living. You are the one that brought this crazy bitch into Valerie's life, and now you got the nerve and audacity to be a whole ass coward and won't even come to make sure that justice is served for your wife? Stinking bastard. Ooh, Lord Jesus, be careful who you marry. That was not the lid to your pot, Valerie. I'm so sorry, girl. Ooh, I'm so sorry. Now, Geraldine's defense was that she didn't have shit to do with none of this. That she had an alibi for every day when all this plotting and planning and riding around was going on. She said that she had a barbecue at her house and she had family members, meaning her mama and them, testifying that they were there with Geraldine all day long, and Geraldine never left the house, neither one of them 4 days. A family member was saying that they was with her morning, noon, and night. She was never alone. They don't know what Marva is talking about. Okay, sure. But guess who did not take the stand? That goddamn Geraldine. Honey, she didn't go nowhere near the witness stand. You got everybody else talking for you, ma'am. You know this ain't gonna end well, right? The jury, they didn't buy none of the shit Geraldine was trying to sell them. They found her guilty of murder. Now, Geraldine waived the right to a jury at the death penalty hearing. The judge found that she was absolutely eligible for the death penalty after taking into consideration the heinousness of the crime. Baby, they sentenced that ass to have that water cut completely off. Honey. But here is where Geraldine makes history. Geraldine Smith became the first woman sentenced to death in Illinois since the state had reinstated its death penalty in 1977. Now, when Geraldine got sentenced, Illinois had to figure out where to put this hoe. Because yes, there was a death row in Illinois, but it was for the men. At the time, there was like 126 men on death row, 0 women. So they didn't have a women's cell block death row because, women don't commit the type of crimes that require permanent punishment. So they had to figure some shit out as to where Geraldine was going to pop a squat till it was time to send her ass on to glory. And, prisoners, they have to be housed according to their classification. Geraldine can be no condemned woman kicking it in general population. So what they ended up doing was turning 4 cells at the Dwight Correctional Center, that's the women's prison. They turned 4 cells into the women's Green Mile. This would be Geraldine's new home until they gave her that long kiss goodnight. They didn't have but 4 cells. And guess what? Geraldine was all alone. She is the only woman in Illinois on death row. Ooh, talk about solitary confinement. She wouldn't have nobody to talk to. She would eat alone every single day. When she would get her yard time, she would be in the yard by herself. Like, that's punishment in and of itself. But baby, guess what? If you can't do the time, don't do the motherfucking crime. Well, Geraldine wouldn't be alone for too long because, when a new spot opened up, motherfuckers just got to be the first one in, right? So while our next story is a little bit more like a blip, I'm going to be in and out. All of these could have actually gone on a Love Kill segment, but because they did some prolific shit, that elevated them to Melanin Mayhem. So I'm going to tell you about this other woman. It's going to be real quick. We're going to get in, we're going to get out because I don't know shit about this lady. Again, the prolificness of it all, of being a woman sentenced to death row in Illinois. There were only 2 at the time. I just told you about the first one. Let me run this second one down for you real quick. Now, again, this story is going to be quick and dirty about a bitch that preyed on the elderly to support her drug habit. Now, while she doesn't have big numbers of killations, this bitch was grimy because the people she went after, they couldn't defend themselves. We talking about senior citizens, not young seniors. I'm talking about old seniors. Seniors that weren't well off by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, shit, they lived in the projects or in some senior housing. They all lived in the same community, though. They were just easy targets for a woman that wanted whatever they had. Now, I do know that Dorothy Williams was born December 12, 1954, and her first victim was a man named Lonnie Laws. Honey, Dorothy ran up in his shit on December 5th, 1987, and this trifling bitch strangled this old man to death with his own belt. Baby, robbed his house, took his shit, pawned it, and went and bought some heroin. Her next victim was Caesar Zuell. He was 64 years old. He lived around the corner from Mr. Lonnie. He got jugged to death. I'm talking about she took a knife and gensued his ass up in December of 1988. So this is the following year. Her last killation victim was a woman named Mary Harris. Miss Mary was 97 years old, almost 100 years old. She didn't make it to see 100 because this bitch ass Dorothy ran up on her. Now, Miss Mary, she lived around the block from Mr. Lonnie. She didn't weigh but 99 pounds soaking wet. And she, again, was 97 goddamn years old. Dorothy, good fiending ass, went up in that lady house, took some shit to boost, and instead of just taking this old lady stuff, Dorothy took her to the upper room, all for a stereo. On July 25th, 1989. Now, in the midst of all of these 3 killations, Dorothy was robbing these old people. Some of them she didn't kill. Like, she has like 6 elderly victims that she just beat up and took their shit. Like, ma'am. She was eventually snatched up on September 6th, 1989. They went up in her house. They found Miss Mary's stereo. They found Dorothy's fingerprints in some of the victims' houses. And so they charged her with murder for Miss Mary. They didn't want to take time to process process the evidence for all the rest of the cases. So they just charged her with the slam dunk that they had, Miss Mary. Dorothy was found guilty in March of 1991. Well, when they found her as guilty, they also sentenced her to death. And that is when she made history as the second woman to be sentenced to death in Illinois. Now, it sounds good, right? Oh, death penalty. These hoes has got to go. But in 1997, in some judicial boots on the ground, the Illinois Supreme Court ruled that Geraldine's death sentence needed to be vacated. They said that, the death penalty is not done properly. And so for that reason only, we are going to vacate her sentence because we think it's excessive. And they sent Geraldine's case back to the Cook County Circuit Court for them to give her a new punishment. And baby, that was the start of the opening of the floodgates because nobody wanted anybody to be executed. Even though these people had killed people, they didn't want to kill these criminals. So unfortunately, Geraldine and Dorothy and everybody else on death row got a save from the governor. In 2003, Governor George Ryan felt like the death penalty was just too harsh for a motherfucker that does harsh shit. So everybody got their sentences commuted to life without parole. So while Dorothy didn't get that hot shot, she did die in custody December 19th, 2020 at the young age of 66 years old. So you see, Dorothy's story was quick, fast, and in a hurry. But Geraldine's story, on the other hand, you might think it ended with her having her death sentence commuted. It did not end there. Surprise, surprise, surprise. Who ever knew that you could be on death row and walk out of prison? Because that's exactly what Geraldine Smith did. Oh yes, honey, make no mistake about it. She killed that lady she paid someone to kill Valerie McDonald in 1987. In 1997, that was when her sentence was vacated by the Supreme Court. Now, Geraldine would serve 19 years in prison, including 6 years on that solitary death row type of situation. Baby, 2008, Geraldine walked out of prison, the Dwight Correctional Center, a free woman. Yes, honey, I'm gonna let that sit there for a minute. This woman, who, by all accounts, the hitman and the plug say that she was the one who paid for the murder for hire of her baby daddy's wife, she walked out a free woman. I could not believe it. Like, I had to go check so many sources because I just couldn't understand it. But yes, February 22nd, 2008, she walked out that damn prison. It boggles my mind. Since then, since 2008, Miss Geraldine has gone on to live a pretty full life. She met a man and they got together and she started a nonprofit for the children of parents in prison. I think it's called CHIPS, children having inmate parents or some shit like that. And so every year she would throw a Christmas party so that the kids would have gifts and toys and things from their incarcerated parents. But man, like, I don't know how I feel about this one because that's a pretty big lie. Like, I've got my best friend is my best friend. Like, she don't play about Nay, and I know she would do anything for me, but I don't think that she would just go off on her own because I'm cussing about my baby daddy's wife and just pull off a caper to have her killed in my car. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Geraldine denied everything. She didn't know the hitman. She don't really fuck with Marva like that. She wasn't nowhere around. It's just too much to believe. This was your baby daddy. This was his wife. If Marva and Eddie got into the situation to do some killation, it's because you facilitated that shit. And if you facilitated that shit, you deserved your life without parole. I don't think that the sentence was too harsh. They were saying that because Geraldine had never gotten into any type of trouble prior to this one little bitty incident. But I mean, I can go for that too, that you can go your whole life without getting into trouble. But if you decide to jump all the way off the porch and jump into the deep end of the pool, I mean, you get what you get, but not Geraldine. So yeah, Miss Geraldine Smith is still in Chicago and she is a free woman. So y'all look up old Geraldine and see this shit for yourself. And that, New Orleans Nation, was the story of Geraldine Smith, free from death row and Miss Dorothy Williams, who died on death row. Wasn't that a trip? These women were prolific because they made history in the state of Illinois. They had to create a space for them because they didn't have any place to house death row inmates. Now they do, of course, because thanks to Geraldine, those 4 cells over at the Dwight Correctional Facility, they worked. They closed down Dwight and moved people around, but this boggled my mind. I don't know how I feel about this. I can't wait to see what y'all got to say about this on social media because, this is a good one, honey. And speaking of social media, you can find me on Instagram, on X, on YouTube, and on Facebook. Just start typing in Melanin Mayhem, and it's either going to be Melanin Mayhem Podcast on most sites, or it's going to be Melanin Mayhem PC. I think only on X, I think I messed up, and I really do have that name, but, social media is becoming my ministry. I'm still getting it down. I know how to scroll, I know how to post, but that other stuff is a lot sometimes. If you have not joined the Facebook discussion group, I don't know why you are procrastinating. Baby, go ahead, join us. The water is fine. We be in there kicking and carrying on. It's free to join, free 99. And speaking of free to join, I hope you all are able to join me this Saturday, June the 7th, at the Auburn Avenue Research Library, where I'm going to be holding my first community chat. We are going to talk about the Atlanta child murders and the link of Wayne Williams. It's going to be an interesting discussion. I will be recording it though, so if you are not able to join me in person, I will be posting it as a bonus episode. So you'll get video, not just my voice. Yay! That's a win-win for everybody. But if you are in the city of Atlanta this Saturday, June the 7th, come on down, 1 o'clock to 2:30 at the Auburn Avenue Research Library here in the beautiful city of Atlanta. It's supposed to be nice and sunny because we have been rainy for like the past 2 weeks. So let's all get out and be outside together. You know what I'm saying? This week's New Ordination shout out comes from Mystery D. That was spelled D-E-E-E-E-E. So I'm going to say it just like that. Mystery D placed a review on Apple, and the title of the review is I'm Just Obsessed. This is my first time writing a review. Thank you, girl. But oh my God, I'm obsessed with this podcast, cousin. I feel like I'm talking to my actual cousin. I find myself responding to you as you speak. I don't have anyone to really talk to about true crime, and you became my guilty pleasure. Keep up the good work. Love what you're doing. Well, Mystery D, thank you so much. And girl, I'm so glad me and you can talk and kiki and kick it and whatnot. And please know, every Wednesday, I'll be right there, and every other Friday to talk with you about these doggone criminals out here criminaling. Y'all, thank you so much for your reviews. Like I say every week, I'm always reading them. For my Apple subscribers, unfortunately, me and Apple are still locked into battle, and they have not unlocked my ability to actually reply or respond to the reviews on Apple. So while I can do a reply or do an emoji or something on Spotify, I cannot do it on any other platform. They just won't let me be great. But please know, I'm reading them, I'm loving them, and the love is implied. Y'all, I know I had said that Sunday I was going to have merch dropping. It's just been a week. It's actually been a month, and the month has only gotten started. I promise you, once I get past this event on Saturday and my life kind of calms down slightly, I will have the merch. I am working on it. I've got t-shirts. I'm trying to do t-shirts, maybe some hats and some tumblers, but I would actually like to know what it is y'all want, because I don't want to just be making up some stuff and that's not what y'all interested in. So I know we all like a good t-shirt with a nice saying on it, and I got some good shit for you. But if there is something else that you would like the country girl to put up for merchandise, let your girl know, and I promise if you ask, you shall receive. Other than that, I'm about to get into the lab and get ready to chop this thing up a little bit. I hope that the rest of your week goes fabulous. I hope that I'm able to see you guys on Saturday. And if not, I know you'll be there in spirit. But before we go, you know how we always kick this thing off. I need you all to stay safe. And I need y'all to stay vigilant. And above all other things, if you don't remember nothing else the country girls say, remember this. If you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. It's one love, New Orleans Nation, and the country girl is out of here.
Woo-wee, Nana, you did that.